guys laughing now because they have a like dirty boxing, really, you know. They just fighting hard, but there is like no good technique. But Ilya will be left now because Ilya has such a high level boxing. So.
Is Conor gonna come back? Is John gonna fight Pereira? Which Dana is kind of is not uncertain about. But I believe with performance like this man has delivered each and every time, I believe Justin and Ilya potentially becomes the headliner for that card.
The dust has barely settled on Justin Gaethje's interim title victory, but the landscape of the UFC's lightweight division has already shifted dramatically. The celebration was brief, marked by a poignant welcome from a former rival. Dustin Poirier took to social media with a simple message for Gaethje: "Welcome to the big leagues." It was a nod to the elite echelon Gaethje has firmly re-established himself within, a victory for the legends over the surging hype trains. Gaethje himself is acutely aware of the scoreboard, noting the current standing of his team against the competition, tallying wins over formidable opponents, and eyeing vengeance for past losses. The division is a shark tank, and while questions swirl about the return of icons like Conor McGregor or the future of Jon Jones, the immediate focus has narrowed with laser precision to one inevitable: explosive confrontation. The consensus among insiders, fans, and fellow fighters is undeniable. Justin Gaethje versus undisputed champion Ilya Topuria is the only fight to make. It represents the pinnacle of combat sports theater, a clash that transcends mere promotional hype because it features the sport's two most currently dangerous athletes openly clamoring for the same real estate.
You're 100% right. And you're 100% right, and it should be. You know, it should be. It should be. If you want to talk about, being fair competitively, especially in the performance that he puts, like, why wouldn't you? Right. In the perfect picture, you would want Justin to fight Ilya.
At the White House as an American. Will that happen now? Fuck.
He said, "Welcome to the big leagues, Paddy Pimblett. One up for the legends." Right. What do you think about just like you carry? How much pride do you?
We're up 3. He beat BSD. I beat Fazeev, and I just beat Paddy. We're up 3 right now. Topuria took out Max, so we might be 3-1. But I'm going to try to avenge that one.
The interim title win didn't just adjust the rankings. It named Gaethje's next foe. Topuria had already advanced, and now both men stand on a collision course that feels destined. However, the physical toll of Gaethje's recent war cannot be ignored. Amidst the adrenaline of victory, he admitted that he sustained significant damage. His brain was rocked a couple of times, a stark reminder of the brutality of the trade. Gaethje is pragmatic about the recovery process, noting that unlike other dangerous sports like boxing or football, MMA fighters have the luxury of taking the necessary time to heal.
But I believe with performance like this man has delivered each and every time, I believe Justin and Ilya potentially becomes the headliner for that card.
You're 100% right. And you're 100% right, and it should be. It should be. It should be. If you want to talk about, being fair.
That he sustained significant injuries and would require time to heal.
Yet, his eyes are fixed on a specific horizon, June, and a potential historic showdown at the White House. Having fulfilled his duty inside the cage, Gaethje views a White House event as a paramount honor, an opportunity that arises with extreme infrequency. He insists that nothing short of a catastrophic obstacle keeping him physically unable to compete would deter him from capitalizing on such a moment to represent his country. When broached with the magnitude of a potential White House matchup against Topuria, Gaethje remained characteristically grounded. He refused to engage in hyperbolic self-promotion, stating that if he had a flamboyant personality, he would call it huge, but he prefers to stick to the unembellished truth. That truth, however, is monumental enough on its own. He acknowledges that, based on Ilya's meteoric ascent, his decisive stoppages, and the stylistic clash between them, it would undoubtedly be one of the greatest fights the UFC could possibly stage. It's a battle for the undisputed belt, the ultimate prize. Gaethje is prepared for any scenario. If Topuria isn't ready by then, he expects the unification to happen, or for the champion to be stripped, allowing him to fight for the undisputed strap regardless. Topuria, for his part, wasted little time in firing the opening salvo.
Style of fighting and add those two to the White House. How big do you think that fight could be between you two?
I mean, if I had any bit of a personality, it'd be fucking huge. But I just can't. I can't lie. I can't exaggerate. It's what I do. It's who I am. It's who my parents taught me to be. But I mean, there's no doubt it would be the best, one of the best fights that they could definitely put on. It'll be for an undisputed belt, and I think they want to have 6 or 7, whatever. They want to have as many as possible. So if he's not back by then, they will strip him, and I will be undisputed, and then I'll fight for the belt.
He swiftly recognized Gaethje's triumph over Paddy Pimblett, only to immediately dismiss the quality of the opposition. Ilya mocked the performance, suggesting Gaethje had struggled past an opponent he deemed inferior and claimed Gaethje had thrown away his opportunity. He delivered a stark warning. No matter what happens next, Justin is heading straight for trouble. Yet, Gaethje remains impervious to the psychological warfare. He understands his presence at this level has a singular purpose. He doesn't rely on trash talk or manufactured drama. His focus is entirely internal. He trusts his grueling preparation, the wisdom of his elite coaching staff, and his own battle-tested skills. He hopes that triumph is his destiny, but concedes he cannot dictate the final result. Only time will reveal that. This is the mindset of a man entering his first 2-time interim champion status, now staring down a unifier against an undefeated pound-for-pound phenomenon. He isn't looking to send Ilya a message before the fight. He bluntly stated he doesn't give a __ about the extracurricular noise. The only message that matters will be delivered inside the octagon, through relentless tactics and effort. For Gaethje, motivation has never been a question. Even after enduring numerous brutal wars, he is propelled by the ultimate goal, the undisputed championship. The interim win was significant, making him a champion on paper, but it was merely a stepping stone. It earned him the right to write the final, definitive chapter of his career against a guy like Ilya. The anticipation for this matchup is palpable across the MMA world. UFC CEO Dana White views it as shaping up to be a pure, unadulterated striking battle. He highlights the immense power possessed by both athletes, anticipating fireworks the moment they enter the cage. White believes both men possess the capability to end the bout with a single blow, promising fans relentless action, top-tier skill, and a contest capable of dominating headlines on any card. If you are living for these deep dives into the highest level of combat sports strategy and want to stay ahead of every major fight breakdown as this historic clash approaches, make sure you are subscribed so you never miss an analysis of the tactics that will decide the undisputed king, legendary flyweight. Demetrius "Mighty Mouse" Johnson also weighed in, seeing Gaethje versus Topuria as the perfect bout. While unsure if Gaethje would want to defend an interim belt, he recognizes Justin's clear focus on the undisputed gold. Forecasting the matchup, Johnson views Topuria as a truly formidable challenge. He describes Ilya as highly disciplined and strategic, possessing terrifying knockout power, evidenced by his destruction of past greats like Charles Oliveira and Max Holloway. Johnson foresees Topuria remaining composed, keeping his hands high, and astutely reading the bout as it develops. He views Ilya as the cleaner boxer who puts combinations together seamlessly, never getting overzealous. Johnson also touched on the position of Arman Tsarukyan in this equation, perceiving him as someone currently at the mercy of the UFC's agenda. Ideally, Tsarukyan should fight Gaethje next, but reality dictates that Gaethje will wait for the undisputed shot. This leaves Tsarukyan to continue developing his image on side quests of media and grappling matches until the title picture clarifies. Former champions Kamaru Usman and Henry Cejudo concurred that given the caliber of performances Gaethje consistently delivers, a confrontation with Topuria could readily headline any UFC event. They stressed the top-tier skill, strength, and thrill both combatants bring. However, they offered crucial tactical warnings. While Gaethje's performance against Paddy was impressive, fighting Ilya is a vastly different proposition. Cejudo observed that Topuria is a very adept close-range combatant, skilled in self-defense with sound form. He contrasted errors Gaethje might have capitalized on versus Pimblett, whose defensive flaws he described as amateur, with the tight, compact game of Topuria. Cejudo underlined that Gaethje must modify his strategy significantly when encountering an opponent who merges defensive acuity with offensive precision, rendering the contest much more intricate and difficult. Usman praised Gaethje's coaching team, Trevor Whitman and company, for crafting the perfect plan for his recent opponent. But he pointed out that Gaethje doesn't always make the exact same adjustments in every fight. He modifies his approach based on what is offered. Looking forward, Usman stressed that facing Topuria will be a totally new challenge. Ilya brings a distinct blend of skill, discipline, and peril that will push Justin to his absolute maximum. It's a unique beast that requires a unique game plan. Daniel Cormier commended both fighters for their willingness to leave everything in the cage. He noted that Gaethje applied constant pressure on Pimblett, almost stopping him numerous times to win the interim title. Simultaneously, Cormier spotlighted Ilia Topuria's deadly history of putting away top athletes across different weight classes. But DC added a crucial caveat. Gaethje demonstrated once more that underrating him is always a critical error. Things generally play out in Justin's favor when foes overlook his resilience. Finally, Robert Whittaker isn't ready to count Gaethje out, but he is acutely aware of the impending mountain to climb. He stated bluntly that Ilia Topuria's striking ranks leagues above almost everyone else in the UFC. When you add Ilia's keen wrestling and jiu-jitsu, along with impeccable timing and punishing counterstrikes that make every step expensive for his opponent, the magnitude of the challenge becomes clear. Whittaker anticipates that the version of Justin who fought Paddy Pimblett won't suffice. We will need to see a different, more refined Gaethje when he faces the undisputed champion.